Namaskar. This is the Guru Shivastus Solomonicus. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about the Guru Principle today. The Guru Principle is a law that is hardwired into the very fabric of the universe. That law governs karma and is determined by how the individual is in relationship with the world and the phenomena in the world. Every religion in the world but one is based on the concept of the Guru Principle, which suggests that if you behave dharmically towards the people and things in the world, you will have good karma. It assumes that there is a conscious force in the universe in the form of reason that reigns supreme and determines your fate. Baba Muktananda, part of my Guru Lineage, commented that he long observed how people behaved in relationship and what happened to them in life, whether they were increased or diminished in value. It is interesting that I have done the same thing in my life, which is how I created equity in human relationship theory. Many people would not recognize a sad guru, or a true guru, or for that matter, Jesus Christ himself, if they met him. I refer to this phenomena as the Messiah paradox. A person without any spiritual level of attainment cannot correctly recognize or evaluate a person with spiritual attainment. Reasoning from ignorance, they expect the guru to look like this, to do this, or to say this, which is why they don't attract themselves to the Sadguru, but to a Dugpa, or a fakir, that understands the disease they have better than they do, and manipulates them to their injury. The fruity spiritualists are part of the problem, posing as spiritual forces, but telling people what they expect to hear. They lull people to sleep instead of waking them up. Just as Satan keeps on appearing as an angel of light, unconditional love is an insidious and unrecognized form of evil. Unconditional love doesn't discriminate. It rewards good and evil equally. Evil, however, is more aggressive and more self-interested than good, so it avails itself more greedily of unconditional love, eventually leaving the source of that love empty and barren. Think of how sugar, the simplest form of nutriment, feeds beneficial bacteria and harmful flora and bloodborne pathogens simultaneously. Cancer also grows rapidly, feeding off the simplest and least nutritional energy sources. Unconditional love turns out to be, after everything is said and done, not a form of love at all, but a form of hatred, because it exhausts itself. It attracts harmful entities that take advantage of it and use its resources for evil. What is needed is a more intelligent, more conscious form of love. Many self-professed yogis and yoginis labor under the misconception that the Sadguru creates positive karma for himself. This is a misconception. Any karma one creates, positive or negative, has to be experienced, which means one will have to reincarnate to experience that karma. The Sadguru wants to escape samsara. He wants moksha, freedom, so he creates zero karma for himself, but oftentimes he creates positive karma for the world itself. This also means that he doesn't allow others to create karma with him, either positive or negative. This again is part of the misunderstood aspects of the wrathful guru. The fruity spiritualists often don't realize how they sin against and offend the guru principle. Yoga is a path, a rational praxis. Becoming one with Shiva means that one becomes a rational human, even when no one is looking, and even when the lights are off. This means being honest with oneself and with other rational people. Pythagoras brought the Guru tradition to the West in its purest and most uncorrupted form. It became the basis for modern philosophy, law, and science. If you learn something from somebody, you have to credit your source. If you don't credit your source, that is a subtle act of theft and creates negative karma for you. One of the leaders of the OC Spiritualist Co-op once gave one of my students permission to quote her as long as she gave credit to her. But when I posted a blog on the same topic as this, she argued for vagueness against the premise, obviously trying to create a disparate impact in her own favor. A spiritual act of theft that goes unforgiven by the Guru principle. Another tactic I have observed with women trying to monopolize spirituality as entirely feminine is that I will say something profound that they haven't heard, and instead of agreeing with me, they will repeat what I said and agree with themselves. It seems childish, I know. People like these are not like the sun, which is a source of light. They're like the moon, which only poorly reflects stolen light. And it only appears as large as the sun because of its proximity, not because of its potency. Anybody that increases your value, not as perceived from the emotional, jaded, defensive, ego consciousness, or false sense of self, jiva, not Shiva, but from superego, must be increased proportionately. If they aren't, one has sinned against the Guru principle. This is called the law of appreciation. Many people in ego consciousness claim to be in superego for fame and fortune. When these people aren't appreciative, or worse yet, are depreciative, they disconnect themselves from the source by their words, thoughts, actions, and emotions. Depreciating people that appreciate you as judged from superego or Shiva consciousness is an act of hating your true self, and it offends the Guru principle. As does being unconscious or sloppy in relationship and not realizing that you have been increased in value and not crediting your sources. You don't get to choose the source. The true source is the true source. Not acknowledging the source or misattributing the source is a spiritual act of theft. Thank you for joining us today. Namaskaram. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai.